And afterwards, the ego rose even more, and they started falling. They could no longer overcome the new perception of reality, of coming out of themselves. Furthermore, they couldn't, and they fell into their ego. That's called falling into exile. And here, inside the situation, they discovered forces that keep them inside the egoistic approach, and they yield to them, except for a few qualities, strong qualities left in them that are still connected to that external altruistic approach called the Maccabees. And they started fighting within themselves between the altruistic approach of the Maccabees against the egoistic perception called the Greeks, and they succeeded. They did. And for some time, they truly came back to this external kind of perception, the broad, infinite, actually true perception of reality. And afterwards, the ego grew once again. And instead of the Greeks, what revealed in them is the so-called Romans. And this brought them to such a dispute between them, which they could not overcome, and they fell. They surrendered to the egoistic, narrow perception. And that is called that the people of Israel went into the final long exile of the 2,000 years. But still, among us all, there were single individuals in each and every generation which developed this external kind of perception of reality called the Judaistic approach, the true Kabbalistic approach, and this is how we lived until now. And now, today, this Greek perception, inner perception, has reached its end. Today we can no longer remain in it because we see how it kills us, destroys us. And of course, as a result of this, as you call it, rational approach, we developed a lot of science and medicine and family and technology and culture and education and everything, but eventually it brings us to collapse because there is a limit to how much we can internally perceive and develop instead of developing externally. Because we're reaching such an egoistic development where we can no longer stand each other. And then we come to a very big crisis. A crisis in which everyone hates everyone. Countries hate each other. Nations hate each other. And the world is in a true great crisis where all that it developed according to the Greek method in these past 2,000 years, everything is working adversely against us, and now we discover it. It neither gives us happiness, nor health, nor prosperity, nor anything, and we don't know where we exist. We only say, from the point of view of science, that probably beyond our world there is another world with new dimensions, but actually we don't have anything. We had the space program, we had different things, we thought about flying, about this, about that, but eventually everything's closing down and the person wants to shut his eyes and not open them. And therefore, after all of this rationalism, today we're returning to the Kabbalistic approach that we have to correct our perception, to come out of ourselves by keeping the rule of love thy neighbor as thyself, by which I come out of myself. It is a means to come out of myself, and then I see outside of myself, outside of my inner introverted perception, I see this external perception, extroverted perception outside of myself. In it I see a new world, a great, limitless, eternal, and whole world, perfect world, where we truly, truly can exist. And therefore, all in all, our entire limitation is only in our perception of reality, where in this small, limited perception of reality, we also feel ourselves existing in a very narrow range of life, in a very small place, very miserable, whereas in the new perception of reality, we're limitless in time, perception, space, not limited at all, and everything is ahead of us. So the time has come that finally the Greeks wither away, and the Maccabees, the Kabbalists, among the people of Israel, can open this method to the people and then to all of humanity. Because we have to come back to that place from where Adam Rishon started and open the true kind of perception for everyone. That is actually the entire difference between the Greek and the Jewish approach. Rav Leitman, that was really interesting. Time flies when you're having fun. Unfortunately, our time's up. We have many more questions, but we'll leave it for our next show. Thanks for being with us. Thanks, Nitza. Thank you for being with us. Till next time, all the best.